right, my friends. So it's been a little while. I have been doing a lot of work on the back end, like designing. You know, when I first got into business, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, I didn't know shit about business. I mean, quite frankly, I all I knew is that I wanted to help people, and I wanted to do what I love to do, and I wanted the freedom to do what the fuck I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I wanted to get paid so I could, do the things that I enjoyed doing and continue to sustain myself and continue to grow myself. But that's all I knew. And as far as when it came to actually running a business, no fucking clue, man. And it's cool. Because a lot of this shit, you just figure it out when you do it. You fuck around and then you find out. And that is the way, my friends. If you want to know the secret to life, that is the way. So the last 5 years, and I'll just give you a little bit of backstory, because really what I'm doing here with this podcast, just so you can be aware, because if you don't want to fuck with it, then that's plenty cool. Go and do your thing. But just so you can be aware of like what the intention is behind this, I think it's important to know that and to share that. But really, I am creating a course, and there's kind of multiple levels. Essentially, I'm creating a school, and a whole curriculum. Like if you went to fucking college and you went to study something, it's that idea. I mean, it is that kind of system. It's that kind of outline. But really, this is a school for life. Essentially, this is life academy. It's life mastery, and that is what kind of optimal evolution is morphing into. And so really, like these last 5 years since the inception of optimal evolution as a business, it's really just been this act of, really figuring out how the fuck do you even do business, and really just creating something that is sustaining. And, most of my business owner friends and colleagues out there can relate to where when you first get started, it's a lot of just yes man shit, where you're just like yes to everything just because you want to make some money so you're not dying, so you can eat. Because when I jumped into this, just how kind of my theme of how I like to approach things is I just fucking dive in. I quit all my jobs, I quit everything, and I'm like, I'm just gonna figure this out, because for the way that I operate, and I feel like many people can relate to this, but the way that I operate is like, if I know that there's a back door, if I know that there's a way out, there's like some kind of justification, there's some kind of excuse, then most likely I'm going to give myself a reason, going to give myself that justification to jump ship when shit gets challenging. But if I want to just go all in on something, and like this is what I feel like I am meant to do, and by the way, what this course is, what I'm essentially trying to create here is a system to help you tap into your own genius and be able to develop ways to express that in ways that are of service to yourself and others, fundamentally. But yeah, so the last 5 years I've been like just trying to make some money, essentially. But now I'm at this place where it's like I have created enough space to then kind of come full circle, because this kind of concept of the spiral of evolution will just keep coming up over and over again. But basically coming full circle to then looking back and figuring out, well, how do I really want to design this business? And I'm realizing more and more that my job as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as the business owner, my job is to design. Like that is what I do best. And I think that's where a lot of times you can get lost as a business owner, because usually when you start the business, it's you with an idea of performing a service or creating a product or something like that you want to get out there. And so it's you doing the thing primarily. And after a while, you realize that if it's just you doing the thing, if it's just you working in the business, then there's nobody actually working on the business. And for a long time, I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. It sounded like a great idea, but I didn't necessarily know what it meant to work in the business versus working on the business. Like, what the fuck does working on the business actually mean? And I'm realizing more and more that working on the business really means creating systems. Is essentially taking the shit that you do when you're working in the business and creating systems so that the things that you do and the service that you provide, the products that you produce, and ultimately how things are operated can be taught to somebody else so that they can do all of that. Or, you have a team that does all of that. And essentially then you can remove yourself from being in the business to just being an actual business owner. It's like, that is by definition, a business owner means that the business doesn't need you anymore to operate. You are an owner of a business. And there's a great book that I've studied multiple times now called Clockwork by Mike Michalowicz. Great author, by the way. Great dude. I love his stuff. But he essentially breaks down a whole process of creating systems to essentially, like the title says, it's to clockwork your business so that you become a business owner. But what he says, because one of the most important things to do with this is creating a shift in identity. And so instead of being a business owner, you are a shareholder in a small business. You're a business shareholder. Like if you think of like the board of directors of a big corporation, like people are familiar with McDonald's or like Coca-Cola or like Apple, big corporations like that. And there's a board of directors. Those people aren't actually doing the things. The CEO of McDonald's isn't going in and flipping burgers unless that's what he really wants to do. But that's not what his job is as the owner of McDonald's, even though McDonald's primary mode of service, the product is burgers, is food. And now you can get deeper into that and kind of argue, the emotional things and stuff like that. But either way, it's like, that's what McDonald's does. But the CEO of McDonald's isn't doing what McDonald's does. The CEO of McDonald's is designing the experience, designing the systems of what is McDonald's as a business so that it can grow and that it can be healthy and that it can, scale. It can get bigger and bigger. It has room to grow. It's a long story, but what I'm saying is that I've been in this place for the past several months now of really being deep in the design work of the business. And in my opinion, the most important work of the business, because you can do a bunch of shit. Just like you can go to the gym and you can do a bunch of shit. You can work out and, get a sweat going, make your muscles pump up and just feel good and feel sore and feel tired, feel like you did something. And that's cool and that's great, but that's working out. Or you can go to the gym with like a specific plan of, this is what I'm going to do. This is the goal that I want to achieve. This is how I'm going to get there. This is what it's going to take to get there. And this is what needs to happen today. And here are the most high leverage activities that are repeatable, that are sustainable, that are part of a bigger system that is ultimately going to lead me to the results that I want to realize in this area of my life. And now you're training. Now you're not just working out. Now you're training. And I feel like that relates to business, because when you put the systems in place, when you do the design work and put everything into place, now you're not just businessing. You're not just, working essentially in your own self-employed job. Now you're actually being a business owner. Now you're being a shareholder of a small company. And that is the work that I have been doing. And it's been a tough transition for me because on the surface, it doesn't look like I'm really doing a whole lot. Like honestly, like this, you see this fucking, orange, red, I don't know, whatever chair. Like I sit here for hours with here's my notebook. Well, you can't see it if you're listening to this, but I've got my notebook and I will literally open it up and I'll write down a question. I'll write the date. I'll write down a question or really just whatever, it's just a journal. I just flow. And for me, that's kind of been my process to start to tap into these deeper things. Because honestly, I don't really feel like I'm doing this. I feel like I am putting myself in a place to open myself up as a channel to allow whatever is coming through to come through. So it's like this business is being built through me. And so I'm just in charge of basically taking care of myself and allowing myself to kind of open up to be that channel, to allow essentially be an empty vessel for spirit to move through, to create what is being created. And so, yeah, like that's what I've been working on. And now what I wanted to actually get into today after that lengthy introduction, you know what, dude, fuck it. I like, honestly, let me let me tell you a secret. I fucking love to listen to myself talk. Like that shit gets me off. Like I don't give a fuck, bro. It's so me like going on long rants. I love it. If you love it too, great. If not, like honestly, I don't even give a fuck anymore. Like fuck it, bro. Do what you want to do. I'll be here doing what I do, right? So, with that introduction, what we need to get into today, and really the intention behind this podcast is I'm creating this free course. Is essentially, and I'm just going to break this shit down for you. It might sound a little complicated at first, but basically, optimal evolution is a lot of different things. And that has been literally the biggest fucking challenge from day one, because I am in the realm of peak human performance, like literally spiritual evolution, consciousness realization, awareness expansion. That is the business that I'm in, because honestly, that is just an expression of me. That is the journey that I have been on, and I am continuing on. And so optimal evolution, it's not just training. Optimal evolution is not just nutrition. It's not just, philosophy. It's not just this, it's not just that. It's not just one thing. And if you have studied anything like and done anything with business, when you are trying to do a shit ton of things all at once, it usually doesn't work out too well, because your energy is all scattered, your messaging is all scattered, the people that you're trying to target and connect with are all scattered. And so what I had to do, and why this has kind of taken me this length of time to get to this place, I mean, really like these past 6 months, because what I've had to do is essentially take all of those things and turn it into just one thing. And like the leading question of last year was, how do I do everything? Because even me personally, it's like, I love music. I love creating music. I love training, being an athlete. I love coaching. I love business. I love food. I love to have fun and to just do things. But the challenge was, how do you incorporate all of that into one kind of service? Because, most people, they come to the gym and they're expecting to work out. Like athletes, like even me, when I first started as an athlete, the conversations I was having with myself was, well, how do I get better in the gym? How do I lift more weight? I don't really give a fuck about much else. I want to lift more weight. I wasn't really worried about, the organic food and the quality of my water and the quality of my environment, fucking 5G cell towers and earthing myself and in my own consciousness, the expansion of awareness of who I am and how that actually relates to my performance. I didn't give a fuck about any of that shit. I wanted to lift more weight. And so that was like how I was thinking to myself. And, if I want to lift more weight, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lift weight. And then as I initiated that process, that's when I realized that there's so much more than just lifting weights. And I think one of the reasons why I've had what seems like such a challenging path as an athlete. I mean, and just to put it in perspective, which again, like, this isn't like a, woe is me or people have it better or worse, whatever. It's just my experience. Like, I haven't hit a fucking PR in, it's got to be over 5 years now, bro. Like, I think more than that now, as far as like when it comes to Olympic lifting. And so much can be said about like the training and, different circumstances and this and that. But what I've realized over the years is like, it needed to be like this because I needed to go on this journey to become aware and realize the things that I have and have the experiences that I have had to develop what I have been developing as far as like a curriculum, as far as different systems of training and coaching, and being an athlete and systems of life, essentially. Because if it was all easy and worked out the first time, I would have just went down the typical path and that would have been that. But because I ran into all these obstacles and roadblocks and shit in the way and things not working out, it forced me to actually figure out the answers for myself. Because honestly, it's like you get to a place when you're on your hero's journey, and that's kind of one of the big themes of this first lesson that we're getting into, is when you really go on that initiation, when you take that call, because that really is the first step, is like you've got to take the call to the adventure. You are going to be in a place because ultimately you are forging your own path because you are remembering who you are, and paradoxically your remembering of who you are as everything is a product of your full embodiment of your own uniqueness, of your own individuality. Put that one in a fucking quote and highlight it. Your awareness of your everythingness, of your indivisibility, is a product of your embodiment of your individuality. All right. And so by you allowing of more and more of you to be expressed as you, which means you have to, it's like all these fucking paradoxes here. Like it means you have to come to know yourself as this sameness, as this oneness with everything else. Because when you do that, at least in my experience, when you realize that it's all the same shit, and it really, like, in that sense, it really doesn't fucking matter what anybody thinks of you because we're all doing the same kinds of things and having similar experiences in our own unique ways. When you realize that, it's like, then you give yourself permission to be all that you are and to really tap into your own genius, your own unique genius. And that's really when it comes to fucking being a genius and what that really means. A lot of people think of like intellectual genius, like the Einsteins and, different, Nobel Prize winners and shit like that. But ultimately, being a genius is really just being you. And there's another fucking quote for you, man. Being a genius is being you. Because nobody can be you as good as you can be you. So if you are you, then you are going to tap into your own unique expression of you and be able to bring that forth into the world. And really, like, this whole curriculum is teaching you how to tap into that shit. And like, there's a systematized way to be able to do that. It is the structure that allows the flow, because genius isn't really something that can be taught. It's almost like your genius is your core, is your essence. But we build up and have built up all of these layers like an onion around our core essence. And so all these layers, all these different levels of our being, these are all just different stories, different beliefs, different experiences, different samskaras that are built up on top of our essence. And like, this is our identity that we use to navigate through life, which, is cool. And in a sense, it's like you have to build up all this shit. You have to basically create this construct of everything that you're not, to realize that you are not that, because you finally have some perspective, because, we learn in complementary opposites. So you realize who you are by discovering what you're not. Another one. So when you go on your hero's journey, and really the hero's journey, I kind of like to break it up into 4 basic parts. All right. And honestly, this is me. I just made that up. We're going to see what happens here. So I've been breaking a lot of things up into 4. 4 is a number of completeness. But also 4, is like 4 seasons. And, if you study nature, you learn a lot about life, because wake up, like, we are nature. So if you study yourself, you'll learn a lot about yourself. What do you know? So 4 seasons. So spring, summer, fall, winter. All right. And each of those seasons can also correlate with like the different elements of that season. So, spring, I call it like prep. It's like preparation, planning and preparation. Summer is action. It's work. It's building. The spring is like you make the blueprint, you design the blueprint. And the summer is like you start building the shit. And then the fall is like, yo, you built the shit. This is your peak. This is the harvest. The fall, you built the shit. Now you're like, let's celebrate. Like, we did this thing. Like, let's enjoy the fruits of our labor. Let's party. Let's have some fun. Let's, receive the abundance that is all around us that we've tapped into. And then the winter is rest. And this also correlates with Om, the sound of the universe. Om. Different people spell it different ways, but it's AUM_. Okay, and I learned this from Paul Chek. So winter is like that underscore. Winter is like and you can even break this, dude, this is fucking crazy. You can break this up into even your own awareness, your own consciousness throughout the day. That winter is like your deep sleep. And if I remember this right, is like A is like dreaming. You're dreaming. And then, no, I'm going to fuck this all up. But basically it's, you can build is like you're awake. Winter is like that deep, dreamless sleep. It's the rest. Well, I'm gonna work on that one, okay? Spring is prep. Summer's build. Fall is harvest. Winter is rest. Okay? So those are the 4 basic elements. So if we look at the hero's journey, it's like winter, and again, this goes in like circles. Like winter is just like you're just still. Like nothing's happening. You're kind of in this still place, okay? And then this is like before you even decide that you're making a decision, It's like you're just so deep within your day-to-day shit, you don't even realize that there's a decision that needs to be made. You just kind of start to feel this like, things could be a little better here. They're all right, but something's missing. What's going on here? Something's missing. But a lot of times, it's kind of subtle. You can ignore it. You can just keep doing what you're doing and, hope that things change. And definition of insanity, by the way, doing the same shit, expecting different results. So you just keep doing the same shit and kind of hope maybe things will change. And you're just going with the flow of life, which again, it's not like right, wrong, good or bad. It's just like you're just going with the flow. Shit works out, maybe it doesn't. But that's the, equivalent of like you're just getting a boat and you don't set any sails or anything. You just get in the boat. And you just sit there and this whatever the tides take you, good. Like, cool, that's where I'm going. All right. But there comes a place where it's like you decide that you want to do something. You decide you want some kind of change. Like you decide you're meant for more. And this is like this is when the call happens. Okay? So this is like they call it the call to adventure. Like if you study mythology, like the hero's journey, like if you watch many like major movies, it all follows this timeline. There's some kind of challenge, there's something not right, and then there's a call to be like, yo, it's time to make a move here. It's time to go. Gone are the days of just, sitting there with your thumb in your ass, hoping things change. It's like, it's time to make a decision now. It's time to do something. So that's the call. And you can refuse the call. You just like, nah, not for me. Boop, boop, nope. Okay, I'm putting the phone away, mute that shit. And you just keep doing what you're doing. But eventually it's like, like the fucking debt collectors, they'll just keep calling your ass. And life will just keep calling you forth and keep beckoning you onto your adventure. And eventually, like, you're going to take the call, because whether it's this lifetime, whether, if you believe in reincarnation, many lifetimes, like whatever, eventually you're going to take the call. There's only so long that you can ignore yourself. Okay. And eventually, like a lot of times shit gets so painful. And this is what usually happens. It's like we ignore. And then like your lights get shut off, your house is getting taken away, your shit's getting repossessed. And it's like, now there's a lot of pain. Now it's like, okay, I'm really fucking uncomfortable and something needs to happen here. And that's when you take the next step. Okay. And let's see here. Yerba mate, by the way, I'm drinking. So that's the call to adventure. And once you're on the call, like, okay, we're on this. Like you initiate, then like the initiation begins. Because, people, like you start your hero's journey and, starting it, was a big step. But the hard shit is when you actually start. Because now it's like you found something deeper here. There's something. It's like you know that if you keep digging, like you know there's fucking gold there. There's fucking diamonds. There's everything that you could possibly imagine on the other side. But you have to go on the journey. You have to, you see the peak of the mountain. It's like what's up there. You can clearly see it. But you have to actually fucking climb the mountain. You have to go. And so that is the next phase. This is like I guess, and this may get fucked up, but you get the point. This is like maybe the summer time. I'd have to, and this is the type of shit, honestly, that I've been fucking thinking about is like, how do all these different elements connect into one cohesive system? So you can kind of start to get a feel of like how I am thinking about things. But then you begin the initiation, which is usually, it's like the hardest thing you've ever fucking done, where it's like, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to talk to. You just know you want this thing. You got to get there. You don't know how the fuck you're going to get there, but you really want to get there. So, and you're supposed to be there. And so you just go. And this is where like, you've got to just take action for action's sake. You've got to build momentum. It's like, even if you take a misstep, if you've got momentum, you can course correct easily. If you're just standing there, just waiting, you're not going to get anywhere, no matter how long you stand there. So at some point you got to just move and take action. All right. And so this is like the work phase. Like you're on the journey. And along there, you're gonna take missteps. You're gonna come across obstacles, and like those are all challenges that are there to help you grow. And before I continue, I only got a half hour on this video. I'm gonna restart it here. So I'll be back with you in 1 sec. And we're back. All right. So in the winter phase, or I don't know where the fuck that came from, but you're on your journey, you come across challenges, and now usually at this point, and usually like when you're about to give up because it's just fucking hard, some help appears. It could be like a mentor, it could be a book, it could be a coach, it could be a program, it could be anything that you feel like, yo, this is the help that I've been looking for. This is something that is at least going to help get me going and just give me something to keep moving here. Okay. And again, like the mentor, their job isn't to do anything for you. Like this is still your journey. They just, maybe they give you a couple tools, they give you some things, and they give you some food. They kind of let you rest for a minute, and they let you got to keep going. Okay. And so you kind of like, and this is again that idea of the spiral of evolution, because it's like all these cycles, there's like these big cycles, and even within the big cycles, there's the little cycles, and within the little cycles, there's these little mini cycles. And so there's all these cycles that are constantly cycling. And so even within like the big overarching theme of the hero's journey, there's these little cycles that happen within each one of the big parts. Okay. And I'll probably end up drawing this out. And see, honestly, like as I'm talking through this is the whole point of this podcast. As I'm talking through this, explaining this, I am quite literally in real time. You are witnessing, although this will be a recording when you hear it, but in real time, I am developing this curriculum of what we're teaching here. And so if you listen to this podcast is just me fucking sharing and just getting ideas out in this kind of raw, unfiltered format. And then the course that I'm developing is going to be more concise and systematized based on how I'm expanding through this podcast, through what I'm sharing here. All right. And so you go through, and then like finally there comes a place, like you kind of get to this place where it's the hardest fucking thing you've ever done in your life. And you don't know if you can keep going. And it's like your whole identity, there's this death, because everything that you thought you were, isn't actually who you are anymore. And you have to learn how to think of yourself differently in order to continue moving. Because it's like who you are and what got you to this certain place isn't who and what is going to take you to the next phase of your journey. And so you've got to let go of all that. Just like I was talking about the onion. It's like you've got to let go of all of that. And honestly, this is where the training comes in. This is where like the really hard physical activity of like just pushing your physical body, pushing yourself. This is where that comes in. But on the other side of that, when you initiate that journey, there's a lot of different variables. And there's like the journey, there's as many variations of that journey as there are people, and literally any conscious being, so it's just the hero's journey is the theme, is the archetype, where an infinite number of expressions can be had, because there's an infinite number of possibilities how things can be played out. So the biggest thing is like you decide that you're going to start, because it starts with that intention. That intention is the seed, and then like your action and your emotions behind it, that's like the water and the fertilizer, and the sun, the nutrients. And then, there's the care and the tender and the nurturing element of it. And then, things grow. Again, nature, just pay attention. So, oops. There we go. So, let's see here. We're going to take a sec. Kind of gather myself here. Because we're on our journey. Yeah, no journeys are the same. Okay. And something physical, like working out, like training your body, can be something that can really be that initiation for us, especially like men. Like obviously, I'm a dude, so I get this. Especially as men, it's like women, they go through birth, and that is like a rite of passage, because that is, that's, I don't know what the fuck that's like. I won't know, but I imagine that's one of the most difficult things that you can do as a human being is like give birth. And that in itself is a rite of passage that a woman can experience. But as men, we don't really have that. And if you look at like our ancestors, there was more formalized rites of passage because they saw the importance of that, of having some kind of ceremony behind it. And, being able to delineate like, yo, this is you as a boy. And now you're going through this initiation. And then on the other side of that, now you're a man. And now you have the responsibilities of a man. And that is part of the hero's journey. That's why it's so important to initiate that, because you initiate your own transformation into really just being a man, but even deeper than that, just being all that you have already been the entire time, that you've just forgotten that you have been that. And then eventually, as you go through that, you go through the dark night of the soul, you are reborn, you are resurrected. You study the Bible, like this shit's everywhere. And that's why I draw upon this. These are basic themes. You're resurrected, you're born anew. Now you come full circle, and now you come down. It's like you reach the peak of the mountain. You've seen the views. You've gained what you were supposed to gain there. But now it's like after a certain point, because again, you can sit up there and everything's great, but at a certain point, it's like that it's not just for you. That you went on this journey because it was humanity's journey. It was your piece of the big story. And so you have to now come back. You got to come down. You got to come back down off the mountain and give that treasure back. Give the teachings back. And so this first lesson is really just all about understanding kind of the big picture of the hero's journey and where you are at in that journey. And my intention is to be a guide for you through this journey and to provide you with the tools that you need to navigate all of these different elements of life that you will encounter on your journey, and be able to create a system, create a way of living that is in alignment with the fullest expression of who you are, and to be able to do that in a way that feels effortless, that feels like you're just being you. And by you being you, you are being of the greatest service to yourself and to others. And you know how to create systems to support that, like a business, so that it can grow, so that you can continue to grow without you being there, having to micromanage all the little things. You are a business owner. You are your life owner. And life stands for living in full expression of who you are. And this is life magic. This is life mastery. Okay? And this is lesson 1. I can't wait to share more with you all. Stay tuned. That's what I got for you today. All right? Thanks for tuning in. Much love. Very, very much love to all of you. See you soon. Talk soon. Peace. Hey, whoa. One last thing. The journey is the way. Bye.